Live from New York, it's a nation of makers. It's Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern.
Hey everybody, welcome to our June 18th edition of Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern. With me is Mr. Lady Ada himself, Phil.
Assistant to the maker stars, I like to call me now. That's what I am.
Can you do that that accent that guy from Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous does?
Oh, Robin Leach?
Robin Leach. Can you do Robin Leach accent?
We'll be looking at a laser cutter.
As you tell us what's on
a
today's
3D
show.
printer.
What's on today's show, Phil?
This is the opposite. This is like Lifestyles of the people who just made stuff themselves because they can't really, they don't really want to buy all this stuff.
Right.
So, on today's show, we have a lot of stuff going on, Becky.
What do we have?
First up, it is Nation of Makers. We're going to talk about this big day in the world of maker fair, making.
Look at that lawn.
It's
very lush.
We used to work for Make. Our
Yeah,
stuff is
both
still
of us
Make.
did.
Yeah. We'll talk about Wearable Wednesday.
It's all the cool stuff that people are making and putting online, and we share it on the Adafruit blog, and we'll share it with you now.
Component of the week.
It's a component that's featured in this week's project. We'll tell you a little bit more about it.
Okay. Material spotlight.
Something I really like and why I like it.
Okay. Questions and answers. You have questions. Becky has answers.
If you have any wearable electronics questions during the show, you can always post them up in the comments or on Twitter or throughout the week, and I'll gather them up and share them on next week's show, and that getting your question answered makes you eligible for the show's giveaway.
All that and more on Wearable Electronics with Becky Stern.
That's what we do.
Okay. So first up, let's talk about this today. Today is June 18th. It is Nation of Makers. And
Why is that, Phil?
Yeah, well, we have a little thing. So Make Magazine and Maker Faire and the crew, all the folks that we work with and we're partners with, a lot of people we know are at the White House right now, or they've been escorted out recently because well, not in a bad way, because Lady Ada and I saw the talk this morning live on YouTube, and the president said today's the day of making, celebrating makers, people who are making more makers, people that are doing classrooms, workshops, making electronics, all that cool stuff. It's official. There's a proclamation. There's lots of things you can do online. There's lots of companies pledging to support this big maker movement. And fun story, Lady Ada was invited, can't go because we have to do shows here and run an Adafruit. So that's cool. But what we're doing today is a special code, Nation of Makers. So you're probably saying, Phil,
What is the code, Phil?
Yeah. And,
Phil, what is it?
And my magic hat will tell us. Now, what I have to do is I have to turn out the lights because these are LEDs, but my hat says Nation of Makers. Maybe if everyone's good, I'll turn out the lights at the end and I'll show it.
So you
but
guys
this
tuned.
This is the special code hat.
It's a really nice special
What's the code hat? And I'm going to go like that.
What's the code, Phil? Hat?
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Super cool. Well, you know, it's about time there's a Maker Faire at the White House.
Yeah. So this is going on today, and there's some great videos. As someone said in the chat, they pressed pause on the presidential speech about this to watch this show.
Yeah, we're up against a serious live streaming competition today.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever. Everything's recorded. So
And
I won't be offended if you're not watching this
we
live.
have this banner on our site, and this is also what's on the whitehouse.gov right now, which is kind of crazy.
That's
3D printed stuff.
I know it's been a long time in the works too, so that's really satisfying to see lots of efforts pay off for those folks.
That is why the code is Nation of Makers.
Nation of Makers gets you 10% off everything in the Flora and Wearables category.
Yeah.
Until midnight tonight, you can use it to buy some wearable electronics.
Yeah, and I don't think they planned it this way, but you know, Nation of Makers happened on a Wednesday because I think they really like all the Wearable Wednesday posts that we have.
I'm sure that's why it is. I'm sure.
In between budget crisis, political unrest around the world,
settle this once and for all.
I think Congress passed. We now declare today
because it has the most live shows about DIY electronics. Wednesday does, so you know it's the day of making. We're a nation of makers.
All right, so
cool, that's exciting.
Wearable Wednesday on the Adafruit blog, the largest selection of wearable electronics in one spot that scrolls forever.
It scrolls forever, and so every week we post up a bunch of wearable electronics projects. Some of them are yours, some of them are things we find online, and this week I have a bunch of customer projects to share with you. So here's one that's a NeoPixel ring and an Android app, and what I'm presuming is the Bluetooth low energy module, but I don't see it there. This is a post that came in on Twitter, so that you can change the color of your pendant with an app on your phone.
Okay.
Pretty cool. Here is another customer project. It's Dr. Livingston pith helmet hat with Flora NeoPixels inside, and I think it's a trinket. There's another picture that's on the inside, and it has a microphone, amplifier breakout, and it's a Gemma, to be audio reactive Dr. Livingston hat.
So it'll do kind of like what the hat that you had last week.
Yeah, and
That's
the
cool.
code is posted up on the site, and it's like a variation on the Amplify code.
Okay.
This is another customer project. It's a bow tie made with red LED sequins. So it's just powered by 2 coin cell batteries on the back, no microcontroller. And then these are just, surface mount LEDs with sewable pads. So you can add a little bit of blinky to your wardrobe without having any big LED lenses poking out. Very cute red bow tie. And then finally is this customer project. Larry sent in this tiara he made for his granddaughter. He said he made the steampunk NeoPixel ring goggles for his grandson and this NeoPixel tiara for his granddaughter.
Yeah.
And what lucky grandkids he has. Super
This is
cool.
cool. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of projects based on the very easy to do NeoPixel platform project, whatever you want to call it, because it's just a Gemma NeoPixels.
Yeah.
So easy to do for kids, easy to do for parents.
And grandparents.
And then it's something that you can wear and show around.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thanks for sending this video, Larry.
All right, and then
Super neat. So those are the projects, those are customer projects I wanted to share with you. There's also a ton more artsy projects and cool things on the Adafruit blog every Wednesday, so don't miss it.
Yeah. Okay. What else you got going on?
This weekend, I'm doing a Flora workshop in partnership with iBeam. It's actually happening at the lab where I teach at SVA. So if you're in New York, there's still a few seats left in the workshop. If you are a crafter or a sewer or fashion designer or just curious and want to get hands-on learning with Flora, I'm going to bring a bunch of projects in person to share and show and tell for people to like touch and hold and play with. And then the second half of the workshop, we're going to get started sewing Flora to some NeoPixels with conductive thread. So it's really
cool.
Introductory workshop to Flora and microcontrollers and programming in general. And it's this Saturday. So if you're in New York and you're interested, sign up.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
You can actually go somewhere in New York City and learn
Wearable electronics with
wearable
Becky Stern.
Yeah, it could be like a live show in like not HD, like 4K.
It's going to be in higher res than 4K. I'm
Okay.
going to have to watch my pores because I'm going to be able to see them now. It's cool. It'll be a really fun time on
Okay.
Saturday.
And then we got a project this week.
Yes, this is our project debut this week. It is a glove,
Okay.
as you can see it. And we have a fun video that I slaved over editing for you guys. I really hope you enjoy.
Slaved over the hot pixels.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, let's watch this
Just
thing.
roll it.
Okay.
Did I break something? Uh-oh.
This week's wearable electronics project uses Pazos as tap sensors sewn into the fingertips of a glove. Sew a little pocket around each piezo using a simple whip stitch. Perfect placement for finger drumming. Here's a tip. Double your thread and wrap the ends around your finger. Roll it off and cinch the twist for an easy knot. Fancy. Each piezo has a 1 megaohm resistor soldered across it, sealed with heat shrink tubing. Ribbon wires route to the Flora microcontroller on the back of the hand, where they connect to 4 analog inputs and a common ground. Stitch Flora and the wires to the glove. To tie off, pierce through a previous stitch, pull almost all the way through, then catch the remaining loop with your needle and pull tight. Plug in a mini USB cable and use the glove to trigger your favorite music software like GarageBand or Nano Studio. you can change the output and sensitivity in the Arduino sketch. Tom writes a lot of the music you hear at Adafruit. Let's see what he thinks. So if you want to make your own MIDI drum glove, head over to the tutorial on the Adafruit Learning System and subscribe for more wearable electronics from Adafruit.
Okie dokie. So what's all this about?
It's a MIDI glove. So the component of the week this week is going to be Pazos, and we have them in the fingertips of the glove. So I want to talk more about that in our piezo segment.
Okay.
But here's a picture of the piezos sewn into the pocket of this here Jan golf glove, which we got on Amazon.
Oh yeah, you're recycling the glove because we pulled out the...
It's a different golf glove.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. It's a non-smart golf glove.
It's smart now.
I liked it because I was just looking for gloves online that like looked cool, and this one happens to be a golf glove.
You like that one
and you
best?
can buy one glove at a time instead of a pair.
Oh, okay.
You know, because for golf swinging, you only wear one glove. But anyway, then we did a tricky thing where the first prototype, I put the resistors, the pull-down resistors that go with the piezos, like on the flora, and it just like looked messy because you have these like 4 of them right all up in the same spot. So I put them in line with the piezo wires and did this cute little heat shrink tubing thing, and then the wires route to the flora on the back of the hand, plugs in over USB, no battery required because it's just powered by the USB port.
Yeah.
And then what we used to make the video you saw is the Flora's generating keyboard presses like the plush game controller we have back here.
So
it's just like, so when it taps, the Flora is sending a keyboard command, which like Nano Studio or GarageBand and all those things can take just keyboard input, you know, because the Flora acts like a HID keyboard. But you can also run native MIDI over USB on the Flora because of the 32U4 chip, and there's that whole like teensy project that does it, and it totally works. You can upload all of that custom business to the Flora and then have the Flora sending true MIDI.
The MIDI device, okay.
Which is really cool for all of you with gear out there that takes MIDI signals, and it's all customizable, and it's a really fun project. It's pretty easy. It's good practice for your soldering. It's not too much sewing, so if you're a beginner there, it's worth the practice. And
Okay.
we have a full tutorial on the Adafruit Learning System.
All right, if you want to get this stuff, today, it's Nation of Makers. It's the day of making.
You should make stuff, but you probably need some supplies, so
That's
you can
right.
get 10% off any supplies you want in the Adafruit store
Yeah.
until 11:59
That'll
p.m.
be going all day today
Yes.
because it's a day of making.
Yes.
Not the week of making, not the month of making.
No, just
Not the year of
today.
making, just today, that's it. Go
Some
back
of
to,
you-
go
yeah.
back to buying stuff tomorrow. Yeah.
I know I'm only going to make stuff today
Yeah.
and not any other day.
All right, component of the week. Our favorite components that we like them. We keep them around.
These are new piezos. We have them in 2 sizes. Piezo element with wires attached already inside a little plastic case. So what a piezo does is 2 things. It turns electrical signal into vibration or vice versa. So you can use it as a noise-making element, a tiny little speaker or buzzer. It can generate, you can send it square waves and it'll vibrate and make noise at different tones. You use the tone library for Arduino. We even have a project like that for Flora. And but you can also use it to take physical vibration and transmit that into electrical energy. So when you vibrate the piezo, it causes current to flow through the wires, and then we're using the Arduino to read them as analog inputs. So a knock sensor. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I was
you've
gonna say
seen.
there's the knock knock one is the favorite one.
Yeah, Steve Hofer's famous secret knock gumball machine, where you do, do your favorite little
You knock
sequence
on it.
knock, and then it releases a gumball. We're using the same kind of principle and reading each time you tap your finger on an object. And we have 2 new sizes for these piezos. The little guy I'm using in the fingers, and then there's that bigger one you can use for, you can mount it underneath. It's got little mounting holes. You can use it to make your own gumball machine or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Standard, cool piezos.
All right.
Cheap.
Material spotlight.
This week we're talking about my favorite kind of wire, which is ribbon wire, rainbow ribbon wire. And I just grabbed a bunch of pictures from us using it in all different kinds of projects.
Yeah.
So originally, we got it for the brain machine. Woo. And what it is, I know, right? We're tasting the rainbow right now. And it's just stranded wire, really thin stranded wire, but the shielding or the insulation is all fused together into one flat ribbon, and you can tear off individual or multi-strand pieces as you need them. And I like it because you can color coordinate to your project if you want. There's lots of different colors, so you're never going to get confused about what wire is what. It's very thin, and if you have things like the glove where you're routing 2 wires together, you can leave them attached, and it causes less of a rat's nest to occur. It's very handy. Here's what it looks like when you split apart the leads at the end and strip them. You only need to separate them a little bit so that then it stays this nice ribbon. Here they are in our 3D printed NeoPixel goggles, spiraling them in there. The header wires with the premium jumper wires that we sell are also like this, but with little headers on the end. Here's a picture from our NES controller upgrade project using rainbow ribbon wire to attach the accelerometer. Here's some more rainbow ribbon wire on our Flora color organ, what you call it? What was that called? The piano glove?
Yeah.
That played color with your finger?
Yeah, it's a neat project. What it does is whatever color it sees, it makes a tone based on that. So you can like play a painting and it'll make music.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So we used rainbow ribbon wire to route the color sensor to your finger. You can see it there. And then I also used it in the Firewalker sneakers to connect to the NeoPixel strip. So you can see here I used just the edge of the rainbow wire that was white, gray, and black to match my gray shoes. So it's really one of my favorite materials for when conductive thread's not really your friend, for like carrying more current or insulated connections, multi-stranded connections like to an I2C sensor from a Flora board, and in this case from the Pazos to the Flora on the MIDI drum glove. So you can use it in your wearables project. The Amplify also uses the rainbow ribbon wire for the microphone amplifier breakout to go a long distance. So it's really good for long distances. It's very lightweight, thin, flexible. The stranded wire means that it can take a lot of bending before it's going to break. And because it's all stuck together and colorful, it makes things tidy and beautiful. So pick up some. I don't think we sell it by itself, but
no.
So it's not. This segment I guess is not an Adafruit product endorsement.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn off these lights so they can see the
apparently the audience has been good, right?
The special Nation of Makers hat.
Everyone's been behaving themselves.
Well, I don't know.
This lighting is actually not so bad for the afternoon. Whoa, nice Nation of Makers hat. That is the code. Phil is wearing his special code hat. If you want to learn how to make this hat, Phil B made an excellent tutorial on the Adafruit Learning Systems called the Guggen hat. You pairs with your phone. You send it a message using the Adafruit Blue Fruit LE app on your iPhone.
Yeah, what's cool is you cannot buy a hat like this. You actually have to make it.
You have to make it.
No choice.
That is the case of a lot of things we share on this show. You cannot buy them, you have to make them, which means you have legit maker cred on today's day.
What do you think? Should we leave the lights?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, we'll leave the lights the way they are.
I think the mood lighting's making my hair look nice. I don't mind it.
Yeah. The audience always looks great. So
the audience looks like a tiny little black hole to me.
Really? You can't see?
In the camera.
Look, you can see all the people. They don't realize when you watch the show, you can actually watch them.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, there they are.
We shouldn't tell them that.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. All right.
I see you with your cheese doodles.
Don't forget, that's the code. I'm wearing a funny hat. Come on.
Use the code Nation of Makers. Get 10% off Flora and Wearables category. A little tip for later. It's going to be the code on the show later, too.
Oh, it might be.
So you can sneak outside those categories.
Questions and answers. You got questions? Becky has answers. Here is the first question. I'm thinking about making floor umbrella for my granddaughter. She's 3, and I'm not comfortable letting her have access to the color-changing circuit. I was thinking about replacing the color-changing part of the circuit with a piezo plate so there can be a response for when the rain hits as an alternative option. Is this circuit easily modified to achieve this task? My schematic skills are not that great. I was hoping for some more advice. Thanks in advance, and this is from Christian Finch, I think is the right.
Sure. You can use the circuit diagram from this week's project, the MIDI drum glove, to see some sample wiring for piezo, and you only need 1, you don't need 4. And it should be pretty easy to swap out the color sensor, which is an I2C sensor, so you'll change from reading that color sensor to just reading doing an analog read on whatever pin your piezo is connected to. And that sounds like a cool upgrade to make a rain-sensitive floor umbrella.
Yeah.
As far as like interacting with your 3-year-old granddaughter, though, like I think they're both really similar in terms of like having the kid have access to the electronics. The color sensor like reads through the vinyl, so you're not actually like touching it. But also the umbrella is really heavy, and I think you should be probably supervising that kid. So.
Yeah, take it from me, a man in a silly hat. If you have kids in electronics, they should be supervised at all times. All right. See the hat as authority.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right. Next up, because the JST, the LiPo battery, is the weakest link in my wearable projects, I would like to change the LiPo battery without disconnecting from the project. Do you have a device or connector that can power a project by LiPo and also has a USB port to allow recharging? In other words, can my illuminated scarf be plugged into a recharger? Thanks. Becky Vland. Another Becky. All these Beckys are doing electronics.
Becky. Technically, yes. We have a lithium polymer battery charger with 2 JST ports on it and a USB port. So one's for the battery, and then the other one is for the load, which is your project. And when you plug in USB, it'll charge, and when you unplug USB, or both, it'll power your project. But there's a reason we don't have this on Flora or Gemma, and it's because charging li-poly batteries on fabric is not safe. So, because they heat up, and if you're doing your own electronics, there's always the possibility for a mistake, and a short could cause extra heat up, and extra heat up plus fabric, like polyester or wool, can start a fire and potentially melt your project if it's synthetic. It's dangerous. So that's why we recommend that you don't charge your batteries on your fabric. So while technically yes, and for other projects that aren't on fabric, that's a hardware solution you can do, but we will not make a wearable li-poly charger because we want you to take the battery out. And if you're having a sticky JST port, you can use a nail file to make it a little bit less snug. And just replug and plug a lot of times to get it to loosen up.
I still have this hat on. I'm still going to say the same thing. Safety first. You guys can do whatever you want, but we have to tell you what we think is the safest and best.
So, Becky, I don't endorse charging your scarf over USB. I know it's convenient, but at what cost?
Yeah, 2014 problems. How do I charge my scarf? Okay, next up. Hello, I would like to make a backpack with integrated speakers in the back and maybe a phone charging station. Do you think this is something doable with Arduino?
Ooh, both of those projects sound really fun and interesting, and neither of them require a microcontroller, although I'm sure you could control them. You could do something with microcontroller. You could use one of our amplifier breakout boards and a pair of speakers. There's a couple guides in the learning system, like the beach bag boombox and some other, and the bike cruiser bike stereo system. You can follow those guides for hooking up one of our amplifier breakouts for getting some jammin' beats, but they just take audio input. They don't need any microcontroller or programming. So that's a fun first electronics project because it's just soldering. And then what's the other thing? A phone charging station. So we have the new Power Boost lineup is pretty cool for phone charging, and also check out our solar Minty Boost bag with a solar panel on it to charge your phone. Again, those are just power circuits and don't require any programming. So you don't need an Arduino to do either of your ideas, although if you have an Arduino laying around, there's plenty of tutorials for that in the learning system as well.
Okay, last question for the prize. I like to put some LEDs on the bottom of the skateboard and have the lights react to motion or which way the board leans. What can I use to sense the motion? Either the ground moving under the board or the wheels turning.
Well, you described a couple, Alexander. You described a couple different kinds of motion. So you say which way the board leans. You can do that with an accelerometer. The Flora accelerometer compass module will give you the tilt, and then the ground moving underneath. Well, the accelerometer will also be sensitive to the vibration, if that's what you mean by the ground, like being bumpy. You'll get vibration, and then the wheels turning. I'm not sure what you would do to sense the wheels turning.
There's a lot of, there's like a million ways to do it. You can have a Hall effect sensor and like have a magnet inside the wheel. You could
skateboard wheels are kind of tight.
You could drill something in it. You could have a black line and then look for the stripe moving with a sensor. There's a million ways to do that. In fact, you might even want to, the accelerometer, you can, there's so many.
I would stick with the accelerometer to start and then start adding advanced motion sensing. And then, if you want a cool, mount, there's a tutorial that the Ruiz brothers made on the learning system for Flora LED undercarriage lit skateboard, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have an accelerometer on it, but you can easily add it with one of our other Flora accelerometer tutorials and mash up the code. And there's some cool 3D printed clips for NeoPixel strip on that guide too, so you can make it really pro looking.
Yeah, you could probably also put some type of sensor so when you squish the board, because when you're on it, you're always going to be moving. It's rare that you're staying still on a skateboard.
Right.
So your weight would trigger something too. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Good luck and show us how it
What's
goes.
the prize today, Becky?
Oh, the prize? Oh, I didn't put a picture of the prize. This is just a Flora.
Okay. Well, here's a picture.
Here's a picture of a Flora.
Here's a picture of a Flora in the wild.
Yes, there you go. You will get one of these Floras. Sorry, I forgot to grab one to bring
That's
it over,
all right.
or put the picture in the show.
How do people enter this?
You can enter to win our weekly giveaway by asking a question about wearable electronics. Couldn't be easier. So you get your question answered and you get the chance to win a prize. And since there's only like 4 or 5 questions per show, it's a pretty good chance of winning.
Yeah.
So just ask your pertinent questions in the comments of this video, on Twitter, Google+, Facebook, whatever.
All right.
And I put your names in a bin, so randomly
it's exciting.
selecting a winner. It's Neptus, who asked about the backpack speakers and the phone charger.
Okay,
Congratulations. You win a Flora. So it's kind of like an Arduino, and you'll have to think of something to do with it.
This person will be able to start this project with this thing that they just won.
So you can claim your prize by emailing support@adafruit.com, but I'll also send you a message on YouTube. And congratulations.
All right, the name on the hat, it says, the code, Nation of Makers. Don't forget, Nation of Makers, hat says so.
It's a really good hat. I like it a lot.
Hat says it, so you gotta do it. And we'll be doing the show until at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when anyone in the world can show and share their projects. Ask an Engineer at 8 p.m. Lady Ada answers your engineering questions and more, your questions and others. Not just,
so if you have non-wearables questions, you guys, your questions. If you, although I do ask Lady Ada questions for the show too. If you have non-wearables questions, you can ask them.
Yeah, you can also ask them there. Yeah, just fine. But that'll be there. That'll be going on, and the code is going to be Nation Makers all day long. So go for it.
I know I'm going to go back to my desk and keep making some stuff, but that's what I do every day.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be here at the same time next week for more wearable electronics, and have a good week.
Same hat time, same hat channel. Okay. Bye bye.